This is the first part of Raini Bowles' presentation at the 2021 Yes You Can's Parent Education Conference. Raini's original presentation has been broken down into 3 parts. Here, while helping us understand useful acronyms for the mental health journey, Raini shares her own parenting journey and how the CANS assessment has been useful and the challenges she's faced. In this section, she talks about the acronyms FYI, Even with ACEs High, and I Hope I Can.
Welcome back, everyone. Our last presentation is special. Raini Bowles is the parent of 15 children and the grandparent of 11 children, for whom she is the primary caretaker of 5 of them at this time. Her presentation is a great wrap up to all our previous sessions. She will help remind us the most useful tools that we have gained over the last 3 days and help you to move forward successfully from here. To give you a sense of Raini's capacity, Raini has had a menagerie of animals in her life, including domestic, farm, and exotic animals. She's had a large lizard, tropical birds, ferrets, and 6 monkeys. Not to mention that she has 3 border collies that she breeds at this time. Raini loves research, genetics, and technical reading almost as much as traveling to warm exotic places, so I bet that's something she doesn't have in common with many of us. And Raini's dad was a weather forecaster in Oregon when she was born, so Raini is her given name and not a nickname. And I will add that Raini is an Energizer bunny and is an inspiration, and that she is even still standing upright with all of these high needs children and grandchildren that she has cared for in her life, and the professional pursuits that she has managed to fit in there as well. So Raini, thank you for being with us, and take it away.
Right, so yeah, there are 15 kids. That 15 kids does include our 5 grandkids that we got 6 years ago and 5 years ago. 3 of them through foster care and 2 of them through just a custody agreement. We weren't expecting any of that, and yet here they came. We thought we were done. We'd already had about 100 kids through our doors, and of those, we already had a number of them that we had adopted or guardianshipped. And so here we found ourselves with 5 more kids. It was really a little bit surreal and quite a wake-up call. But I think the thing that surprised us the most was that of all of the kids that we had already had and all of the special needs that they had had, these kids had more trauma than any of them. We had had in the past girls who had been raped and were pregnant with the child of the rapist. We had had children of incest with FASD. We had had a girl that had been trafficked and branded with an iron in her side clear to the bone. We had had children who had had deaths of parents. We had a lot of stuff going on. We had children whose parents were convicts, one that had survived a tornado, their entire family had been lost. We thought we dealt with a lot of trauma before, and then we got these. And these were our grandkids, and we were really shocked at just how much trauma there was, and found out later that a lot of it was generational. So just dealing with that generational trauma and finding out that, yes, indeed, it had changed some of these kids clear down to their DNA and DNA strands that were completely missing, that helped some of these kids regulate things like one is actually missing the genetic be able to understand your facial expressions. He can see your face, but he just doesn't get it. So there was a lot going on in our lives all of a sudden as we took in these 5 siblings. And even though I felt like I had pretty good experience and some good training and knowledge, I found myself at a loss, which was when we got in touch with Michelle Batten at IFF. She wasn't there at that point in time, but she introduced us to TBRI. And that's kind of when things started coming together. Soon after, probably a few years after we got the kids, all of a sudden the YES program came into being. And that's kind of what we're here for this time, right? Is for the YES program. So I'm just going to kind of go over everything we just learned about in this program, from Dr. Israel all the way through Sharon Weber. And we're just going to highlight all of it, bring together all of those fun acronyms that we had in this whole bout, and see what we can do to hack the system. You'll know what I mean a little bit later when we hack the system. For right now, I'm going to share my screen so we can kind of get going on this and just have a little bit of fun. FYI. Now, before this whole thing, you would have thought that I was saying for your information, but hopefully during this, you learned that it means Family and Youth of Idaho, because we just rolled out this whole new program. And you can now find us at FYIdaho.org. But FYI, even with our ACEs high, because our kids have those, I hope I can. I know I can. Yes, I can shine on. And we're going to learn what all of those things mean and how they're going to kind of roll into our lives and how we can utilize all of these pieces. So, FYI, Family and Youth of Idaho and the Idaho Federation of Families has now broken into this new group. If you haven't visited their website yet, I did put it in here as a quick link for you. And I really hope you get over there. I went over and perused it yesterday as soon as it went live and was really excited at all of the things that I see. I think there's so many resources that just take it in chunks. Don't try to do it all at one time, but take it in chunks and just kind of pull that in and bookmark the parts that are really important to you and your family so that you guys can get a really great understanding of what all is there and the resources and how those might help your family as you navigate these difficult waters. So ACEs high, we all have children here that have ACEs high. It might just be the mental health aspect. They may not have had horrible things happen. It could just be that they have a different neurotypical setup, right? It's not typical to other kids, but it's their typical. And that can right there be adverse. So ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. Probably a lot of you knew that, but in case you didn't, I really wanted everyone to kind of be on the same page. So with our ACEs high, we know we need a CANS. We know we need a CANS. We heard that from Dr. Israel. If you have ACEs high, you need to seek a CANS. So I hope I can. I find that a lot of the talk this whole session, from the very first one through, we kept seeing it in the comments repeatedly, and the struggles with the CANS. I myself have had struggles with the CANS as well with our kids, not only in accessing it, but in how long they took, the way that they were done, secondary trauma, the problems with trying to get them to actually do the CANS the way they were supposed to be done. I was so glad that we went over that a few times this time. We'll go over it a little bit more later. But it's like we hope we CANS, but we're overwhelmed. You hear about it or you see the packets, you get information and you're like, what? I have all this to fill out? I know that my OT told me when she first told me about the CANS, she told me the only thing is it's really paper intensive. I don't know if you're going to have time with all the kids. So we got the paperwork, she handed it to us, and it was like, and we literally figured out that I would have to fill out like 134 pages, which seemed like redundant to me. But when you take all of that times 5, plus all of the releases of information to all of the doctors and providers that we were seeing, it was like 134 pages. And that was overwhelming when I was in the middle of having all of this stuff, all this trauma, all of the psychosis, all of the mental health problems, all of the triggers, all of the behaviors. I was in the middle of it. I was in the depths, and it was not something that I was sure I was going to make through, but I had hope. And I had hope that on the other end, I was going to be able to receive some services that were going to diminish the weight that was on me and help me to be able to navigate things a little bit better and have more time for the kids and my own life back, because I literally, no kidding, was booking 38 hours a week in the car driving the kids from services or to programs or to schools. 38 hours a week. And it was insane. I didn't feel like I had any time for myself. By the time I got home, we were dealing with retention collapse from the kids. They would literally get off the bus and fall into our driveway in tears, and I would have to go and pick them up. It was so hard. And I know a lot of you have experienced similar things where your kids just, they come home and they're done coping there's nothing left, and you get it all. So I was pretty worn out by this time, but I had hope that I could. And so I filled out those cans. And the hope that I had, I found out later, also goes with ACEs, and it's hopeful outcomes from positive experiences. And this was so important to me because once I learned that that hope also had an acronym to it, and that these hopeful outcomes could maybe even change our children, change how their outcome was going to be by giving them positive experiences and by helping them to also have hope and to heal, that really changed a lot for me. And it changed a lot for my kids. We had been working on connection. We've been working on the TBRI, another acronym, which is Trust Based Relational Interventions. And just having these pieces coming together and looking over some of the ACEs information and joining some of those groups, I was able to grow and give my kids tools and try to give the school tools. I can say that for our particular school, they literally were adverse to it and refused it. So we ended up taking our kids out. But not everybody even has that option. I still had hope. I had hope for these kids and what they could become. So then we're still hoping about this CANS, because CANS was the whole point of what we were doing this week here. So we want to go back to have the hope, but it's around the CANS, right? What is the CANS? It's the Children and Adolescents Needs and Strengths Assessment. I hope that all of you have a much better sense of what it does, how we can utilize it, and the way we can help the others know how they're supposed to utilize it.
Next, join us in the second portion of Raini's presentation as she reviews the resources presented by our conference speaker, Dr. Nathaniel Israel.